Hey, Mark Hamrock with Hamrock Music here. This is the first of a series of videos for total beginners on getting set up to record music on a computer using a DAW or digital audio workstation software program, and my template that I've created for my students that includes a sample drum kit with MIDI drum beats that you can drag in to quickly and easily create drum parts for your song. It also includes bass, acoustic and electric guitar, keyboard, and vocal tracks with processing and routing already set up. This template is going to make it as easy as possible to get started making and recording music, and in this video series we'll get into how to use it. So throughout the years I've used many different software DAW programs including Pro Tools, Digital Performer, Nuendo, Cubase, and Ableton to name a few. But at this point, I've settled on using Reaper because, well, I love it. It's very stable and completely customizable, so you can set it up however you want. You can also try it for free indefinitely, and if you like it, can purchase it for around $60 at this time. Now, Reaper comes with some fairly decent processing plugins that I've already laid out in the template, and in later videos, I'm going to go through adding free third-party guitar amp emulation, keyboard, and processing plugins that are great sounding and provide you with more control to tweak sounds. I'll also get into higher end plugins you can purchase for even more professional results. In this first video, I'm going to be running through the process of getting Reaper set up and some of the basics of using it. So please like and comment below if you find this info useful, and subscribe to my channel to see more content. So with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so first of all, you're going to need an audio interface to plug your microphone, guitar, or bass into your computer. The interface I typically recommend is the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 2-channel USB interface because it's fairly inexpensive, sounds great, and is hassle-free. So I'll leave a link to check it out below. So once you get your interface and you get the drivers downloaded and installed, then you're going to want to download and install Reaper. So go to Google and do a search for Reaper, DAW, and there you go. So Reaper.fm, click on that, download Reaper. And so if you're running Windows, there's two versions, the 32-bit and the 64-bit. If you're not sure which operating system you're running, what you can do is go to your File Explorer and go to this PC, right-click, Properties, and then it'll tell you right here, 64-bit. So I'm going to want to download the 64-bit version. So once you have Reaper downloaded and installed, then go ahead and open it up. And so you'll get this little 5-second countdown window. So Reaper is not free, but you can use it indefinitely. So after the countdown happens, you can press still evaluating. So here's what Reaper looks like. So we have two windows here. We have the main window, or the sequence editor, and then this is the mixer window. The first thing we're going to want to do is set up some of the preferences in Reaper. So I'm going to go to Options and Preferences, or you can do Control P. First thing we'll do is we'll go to Audio and Device, click on that, and then for Audio System at the top here, we're going to want to select ASIO. So then your interface should show up here. I'm running the Focusrite USB, so I'll do that. And then make sure you have Enable Inputs checked, and then it should show input 1, 2, or however many inputs you have. If you have 8-channel interface, you can do 1 up to 8. And then make sure you have the output range on at least 1 and 2. So if we go to ASIO configuration, so that'll show some of the settings for your interface. The sample rate, I'm going to suggest you leave it on 44.1. You could do a higher resolution, but I think for now 44.1 is probably pretty good. And then the buffer size, I would start at 256. So the way this works is you want the buffer size to be as low as possible, but what might start happening depending on your computer's CPU is that if it's not powerful enough, you'll start to get clicks and pops and audio artifacts appearing. And so you'll have to raise the buffer size. So you kind of have to play with this. Problem is, if you set it too high, then you'll start to get latency, meaning a delay. If you, let's say, play something on your guitar and you're trying to monitor it back, hear it back through the program, there'll be a slight delay. So, start with 256 if you're getting clicks and pops, and maybe go up to 512. Either one of those should work. Okay, so we're good there. And then one other thing I'm going to suggest is under General Paths. On this top one, go ahead and type in audio. Now what that's going to do is when you create a new project in Reaper and you save it to the project's folder, it's going to create a subfolder titled audio to keep all the audio files in that. So it'll just keep everything organized. Okay, we'll go OK. And so again, we have the two windows here, the main window, the mixer window. And so in either one, I can double click and that'll bring up a track. So to the left here, we have the master track. So all the audio in however many channels or tracks you have will be routed to the master track and outputted there. So first of all, you have a fader for controlling the volume and a pan knob for controlling the pan, whether you want the audio on the left or the right. So if I double click on either one of those, let's see if I turn this to the right, double click, it'll center it. If I go to the volume and I turn it down, double click, it'll bring it back to 0 unity gain. We have a record arm button here. When you click that, see I'm getting audio in that channel there. If you right click, you can select which input you want to record. So I have mine mono input 1, which is what my voice is going through the Focusrite. And then down below that, this button, you can turn the record monitoring on to hear yourself as you're recording. The other stuff, mute, so that'll mute the channel. And then down below that, the S is for solo, and that'll just solo the channel, meaning if you have a bunch of tracks and you press solo, you'll only hear that one track. Okay, so let's try a demonstration. So the first thing we want to do before we start recording, what I would recommend is to create a folder either on your desktop or if you have a separate data drive. Either one of those, you can create a folder titled Reaper. And I already have one titled Reaper, so I'm going to call mine Reaper 1. This will be a master folder that you can save all your projects to. So if I go to File, Save Project As, and then I'll go to my desktop and then Reaper 1 folder. And then I'm going to create a separate folder for that project. And you want to do that for each project that you're doing. Okay, we'll go test, and then within that, and then I'll title it test as well. So I'll save that there. So now it'll create that audio folder to save all your audio in within the test folder. Okay, so let's record something. So the first thing I would recommend doing is titling your tracks, and I can go down here, double click, or you can also title the track up here as well. So we'll call this Voice 1. And then I'm going to record enable. And again, you'll see my voice coming through. And then we'll go up to the master record button here, press that, and you'll see my voice being recorded on the track up here. Okay, so I'm going to stop that. I can press the play button here or press spacebar. And then this window will pop up asking if you want to save the file you just recorded. So I'll put save all. And there we have our audio recorded. So if I press spacebar again or the play button, I can play it back. You won't hear it right now because I don't have it routed through OBS, the program that I'm videoing this with, but it's playing back. So once we do that, you can overdub another track by double clicking. And then let's say if we want to do Voice 2. Okay, and then again, there's my voice there, and I'll go up to record. Another way to record is to press Control R. So you see it starting to record there. And we have 2 tracks now. So I'll press spacebar, stop that. And then again, the window pops up. I can press spacebar again. And then I have 2 tracks recorded there. All right, now a couple other things. You have a tempo window here. Right now we're set at 120 beats per minute. There's also a tap function up here that I can tap the tempo that I want. And if you notice, it's actually time stretching the audio. So that's something we'll get into later on, but I'll just go back and put it back at 120. And then you can also set your time signature here. And at the top, you have a metronome you can enable here. So that's going to come in pretty handy. And we'll talk about that a little bit later when we talk about the template. So those are all pretty much the basics there. Again, these 2 tracks are going to be routed through the master. Everything's summed at the master with how it's set up by default. So in the next video, we'll look at the template I created and how to use it. Please like and comment below and subscribe.